From storyflo, this is your daily audio brief. Jessica here, August 12th. The news in 10. Let's start at home. Let's get into it. First, from Bloomberg top, Tencent Earnings, a litmus test for China's AI sector. The China Show 8/12/2026. Bloomberg, the China Show is your definitive source for news and analysis on the world's second biggest economy. From politics and policy to tech and trends, Yvonne and David Ingles give global investors unique insight, delivering in-depth discussions with the newsmakers who matter. Source: Bloomberg. Next, second, from Lemonde, direct. Guerre en Ukraine. La Russie affirme avoir intercepté 502 drones Ukrainians dans la nuit de mardi et mercredi. JavaScript is disabled in your browser. A required part of this site couldn't load. This may be due to a browser extension, network issues, or browser settings. Please check your connection, disable any ad blockers, or try using a different browser. Up next, third, from UP Top News, Primaries, Wisconsin Democratic Gubernatorial too close to call. This website is using a security service to protect itself from online attacks. The action you just performed triggered the security solution. There are several actions that could trigger this block, including submitting a certain word or phrase, a SQL command, or malformed data. You can email the site owner to let them know you were blocked. Please include what you were doing when this page came up and the Cloudflare Ray ID found at the bottom of this page. And then, fourth, from ABC News US. Wisconsin 2026 live primary election results. Voters headed to the polls on Aug. 11. Polls have closed in Wisconsin on Tuesday, where voters cast ballots for Republican and Democratic candidates vying to win the first open gubernatorial seat since 2010, replacing Democratic Gov. Tony Evers, who announced last year that he wouldn't run for re-election. Also in the state, there are several House primary races that could shape control of Congress. See live election results. Next, fifth, from ABC News US, South Carolina special Senate primary election results. The primary is to replace the late Sen. Lindsey Graham on the November ballot. Sen. Darline Graham will face Rep. Ralph Norman in an Aug. 25 runoff. ABC News projects in the state's special Senate primary to replace Graham's brother, the late Sen. Lindsey Graham, on the November ballot. Graham was appointed to fill out the remainder of her brother's term in July. See live election results. On the markets, Kalshi traders have been actively repricing this story in the last day. Up next. 6. From NTVAR News. Former U.S. Marine held in Russia on disputed charges has been released. Russia released an American military veteran, allowing his return to the U.S. after 4 years of what his family and U.S. officials allege was wrongful incarceration and abusive treatment. Image credit, Gilman family. And then, 7th, from Straits Times. Russia turns to India for petrol as Ukraine pummels refineries. Moscow. Russia has started importing petrol from as far away as India, as Ukrainian attacks on its refineries trigger severe local shortages. It is the first time Moscow has imported the motor fuel from the South Asian nation, according to Kepler data, with the lengthy journey required an indication of how dire the crunch is becoming. The first shipment was received on Aug 5, and more may be on the way, according to Kepler. Next, forecasters warned the Chinese capital could receive more than one-third of its average annual rainfall over 24 hours. Thousands of people have been evacuated from areas at risk of flooding and landslides in Beijing, as the remnants of Typhoon Dolphin continue to bring torrential rain to northern and central China. 8th, from the Guardian World. Mass evacuations in Beijing as Typhoon Dolphin brings more torrential rain to China. Forecasters warned on Tuesday that the Chinese capital could receive more than 150 mm of rain over the following 24 hours, with some districts forecast to exceed 200 mm, more than one-third of Beijing's average annual rainfall of 528 mm. Continue reading up next. 9th, from The Hill. Scott faces progressive challenger in Vermont gubernatorial contest. Vermont Gov. Phil Scott R. is projected to face progressive Democrat Amanda Janu in the state's November election, according to Decision Desk HQ. Scott has served as the state's top official since his election in 2016, and he is running for a 6th term in office. The governor is widely considered a moderate Republican, and that's the day. That's your brief. Find every story and claim your own free feed at storyflo.com.